Well, hey everybody, we're so glad you're here tonight. And I think we've got a really exciting team time planned for you with a great topic. So, when Frank and I were talking and kicking around topics for this week, we were just throwing things back and forth at each other. And Frank said, well, what if we did, or asked the question, if you could go back to day one, what is one thing you would do differently? Has anybody ever wished they could do that? Yeah. I don't just have one thing. I have a gazillion things I wish I would had done differently. But I thought, well, that's really good because it helps us to engage on that topic a little bit. And it's never ever too late, y'all, to go back and do something you wish you had done differently. So there's four of us speaking tonight, and we all have one thing that we felt like was really pivotal for us that we would have done differently. But I'm going to start off and I'm going to call on Kelly McCullough to go first and tell you what is one thing she feels like she would have done differently. Kelly?
Hello, how are y'all? All right. Well, there's some more people kind of popping in. Maybe I'll let them pop in before I start. But my thing was, well, actually a couple things, but they're kind of together. Was that one? I feel like I was more structured with my time, meaning I was so focused in on the coaching aspect and just kind of keeping my nose to the grindstone about being that good coach and taking care of things. And when I started coaching y'all, it was in 21, right in the middle of the big, oh, everybody's jumping on, and it was growing big. And I was working full time. I was employed full time and then doing this, in the nooks and crannies. And so I was just like, whoo, woo, woo, trying to hurry and get everything done. I wish I was more structured, had paid more attention to the fact that I was running a business and not just providing the service. I mean, both are true. Okay. And then also leaning in on my coach team, Shauna and Frank and others more, and bringing my clients to them sooner and more often. I wish I had done that way far in advance because I know that helps us bring that coaching opportunity to people a lot better. And I think that that's something that would have helped me to grow a team sooner had I taken advantage of the people that knew more and were doing more themselves. And so just leaning on the people that I wish I had leaned on the people more that were, my mentors and showing me what to do. And that's, of course, that's, when we grow up and we're like, I wish I'd listened to mom and dad more when I was a teenager. It's kind of like that. But that's it. You guys go ahead. You take it.
Kelly, I love that. And I have to say, Kelly, you have always, I felt like, been really good about bringing people to tips calls and coach explore calls. So if Kelly's telling you she wished she had done that more, that's kind of like a little tip there, because I personally felt like she was bringing people a lot to us. But I think we tend to what do we do? We look at this person and we go, no, they're not going to do anything, so I won't waste my mentor's time, or we just kind of qualify them. And while every now and then that might be okay to do, there's so many people out there that if we're trying to pre-qualify people, we may be missing someone. So let your mentorship lean into that with you. Okay, so and Dee put into the chat, there is no watch party tonight. So we're going to end this just a few minutes early so we can all get onto our computers and watch Dee and Meg and Lori, right? Who's Dee, is that right?
Stephanie Sweeney.
Stephanie. Oh my gosh, I have
Yeah.
Lori on the brain because I'm calling her next. Anyway, so we can just get into our own computers, and that way we can pop comments into the chat and they'll show up on that feed. But the next person I'm going to call is my amazing coach, Lori Cole. And of course, to me, I think she just did everything right, but she does have something she wants to share with you.
Oh my goodness. I pay her well to be my friend, don't I? Um, I just signed my ninth coaching agreement. That's so hard to believe. And I remember when I started, I had just kind of was in the middle of my own weight loss journey and starting to recalibrate my mind about what we were doing. And I guess if I had one piece of advice to give, it would be I wish I could have faced my fear and just gone right ahead and pressed into D and believed in myself a little bit more. I was so insecure and so scared, and I would tiptoe around, kind of thinking, is this really going to be my new lifestyle? Is this really going to stick? Um, and can I really, and once you really get into the Optavia community and you believe for yourself, Optavia has changed the way I think about everything in my whole life. And I was so scared though. I would put a post out there and then I'd be like, oh, I I don't want too many people rushing it, and it makes me laugh. I was so scared. And the other thing I would do probably, Shauna, you and I have talked a lot about this, is I would stop saying everything I knew. I feel like at first you just are excited and you want to tell them everything, and it can be overwhelming when we do that. So those are a couple of pieces of advice that I have. I think people just want to be more seen than talked to.
I love that. And Lori, I'd love for you to expand a little bit. What do you think are the biggest things that hold people back? Like that pop up those fears for them?
I think absolutely. We wonder if this is going to be the way our life is going to, are we really going to be able to maintain this healthy lifestyle? And I think it comes with embracing all of it. We're in our book, we're in our community, we're living it. We're not teaching something that we don't understand. We're sharing our own struggles. Social media is certainly a part of it, but as we know, it is not the only way we can live anymore. We have to be in it and, face our own insecurities and fear with vulnerability.
Love that. Thank you so much. Um, I am going to go with mine next, and then we're going to call on Frank. Um, when I started out, y'all, I was so excited because I thought I have found this amazing thing. All my friends are going to want to do it. I'm not going to have to do anything but talk about my weight loss, and they're all going to come running to me. I even went so far as to type out what our whole program was for those people who didn't want to get on a phone call with me because I was so afraid I would lose them if I didn't send them some information. So I had this huge thing typed out from like A to Z on what our program was and how it worked. And do you know, I didn't get one single client from any of that. I was basically trying to do it all on my own. And that's not because I didn't have the support of Lori. And it's not because she wasn't offering to me to help me daily. She was very sweet about it, but she kept encouraging me. I'm here for you. I'm here to help you. But I was stubborn. I was prideful. And I thought I knew my friends and my connections better than anyone else would. Has anybody ever thought that? I mean, you know your friends well, right? Why would you want somebody else to speak to them? And if I'm being really honest, I also thought if I brought Lori in and she spoke to them for me, they would think Shauna must not know what she's doing because she's got to bring her coach to do this. So all of that kind of falls in that pride category. And looking back, I realized if I had had Lori step in from day one, what a difference that might have made in the start of my business. It's not just about the knowledge that we have, it's about guidance, support, and accountability. And that's what we have with our mentorship when we're allowing them to come in and help us. So when I was thinking about what is the one thing that I would do differently if I could start over, the biggest thing I would do would be to embrace that mentorship from day one and trust the process. Trust what my mentorship was telling me. I can clearly remember one day I called Lori up and I was sitting in my bathroom on a stool in my bathroom. And I said, just tell me what you're saying on these calls. because I hadn't heard her do not a one because I hadn't let her do one. I said, tell me what you're saying on the calls because I need help. That's like a couple of months in, y'all. I finally reached out and asked for help. And it was just so simple. It was just asking and listening. And that made all the difference in what I was doing and what I wasn't doing. And I want you to hear that in what I wasn't doing. So the insights that I've gained over the years by leaning into Lori and my mentorship have really shaped our business, but they've also helped to shape my mindset. You know, it's amazing how much we can achieve when we just have the right people in our corner. And, you know, those people are there to help us navigate challenges, to celebrate our wins along the way, and to kind of, you know, show us because they've gone before us, right? And so just leaning out and seeking help, that's not a weakness. And I thought it was. But seeking help is not a sign of weakness. It's a smart strategy for growth. So if you're feeling stuck and overwhelmed, you know, kind of like I was, maybe sit back and think, have I let my mentorship help me as much as I could? Is there anything that maybe I need to relearn? And just don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. It's the best thing you'll do for your business. So Frank had, I'll let him tell you, this is why he's not talking a lot tonight.
All right, well, thank you. So let me start off with telling you that I had not one, because one, anybody could do one, but I had 2 root canals today, this afternoon. I actually didn't get out of the dental chair until about 5:30. So not just 2 hours ago. So the numbness is getting better, but I've been numb from here to here, the whole right side of my face. And just a few minutes ago, I couldn't smile on this side of the face. It's getting better. So if I speak any worse than normal, now you know. I speak pretty bad anyways, but if it's worse than normal, now you know. But 2 different teeth and a total of, if I understand it correctly, I know we got the dental expert over here with Kelly, but I understand it, 4 roots. There were 3 roots in one tooth and 1 root in the other tooth. So four roots that were dealt with. But anyways, I do want to comment a little bit on what Shauna just said. She said one of the reasons that she didn't, or one of the things that she would change if she could go back, is that she thought all her friends and family were going to be different. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that I'm making right now, or I have made till I realized it by learning from Shauna, is that when we brought on new coaches, I wouldn't warn them about your friends and family are no different. They still need a health assessment call. You're not going to be able to give them the information. They're not going to sign up because they're your friends and family. They still got to go through the, you know, the whole thing, which I encourage them to do, the health assessment. So what would I change? When I came on as a brand new coach, I was such a firm believer in this program. I knew it worked. I saw Shauna lose about 90 pounds. I lost 60 pounds. I knew the coaching worked. I followed a lot of coaches. I saw them successful. And I was a big fan of following a lot of coaches. I watched everything I could watch. I read everything I can read. And I knew coaching worked. I knew coaching worked. So I got very good at talking clients into coaching. Very good. I could tell them all the good things about coaching. I got very good at talking them into coaching. And as a result, I mean, we went global, and I think about maybe the 4th or 5th month as qualified globals, we got lucky enough, or I got lucky enough, I think, to mentor one call with Dan Bell. He got on a phone call with us and like, yeah, here's these, you know, globals up and coming. And we got on a phone call. And the first thing that Dan Bell said to me was, or us, can I get into your back office and look at your organization, your, you know, thing? I'm thinking, why is he asking me? He's our upline. He can get in there anytime he wants, but he did. He got in there, and in your back office, you can go to something called a tree, and it shows you all your coaches, right? I don't know if you've ever done that. So he went to our tree, and we had tons of coaches in there. And I don't remember the exact amount. And I'm not saying this in a bragging way because I want you to learn from this. I think we had about 50 frontline coaches in there, something like that, maybe more. I don't remember. It may be 65. But we had a lot of, because I remember Dan Valentine's had this video counting these cards out. And he said, if you just get to 52, you get to 52, you'll be an IPD. So that was my goal. I'm just going to get to 52. I just got to get to 52. And I didn't care. I just wanted to get to 52. You know, ace, jack, 2, 3, 7, you know, you all seen that video. So when Dan Bell opened that tree view up, he said, oh my gosh, he saw all these frontline coaches. But you know what? Probably 95% of them wasn't doing anything, nothing, because I was very good at talking clients into coaching. And I realized after that Dan Bell call, probably he saw all these coaches, and then he would, you know, you can click on the coach's name and see what they've got. I don't know if you've ever done that. He was clicking on names. He wasn't getting nothing. He's like, what? Oh, so they were doing nothing. They were coaches on paper only. So I realized after that, I had talked 95% of clients into coaching. They weren't coming to coaching because they wanted to be coaches. They were coming into coaches because they were our friends, they were our clients, and they, you know, they believed in my passion and they believed in what I was saying. And there's like only $99. I'm going to sign up as coaches. So I say all that to say this. Whether we're talking clients into being clients, you know, just try it for a month, you know, blah, blah, blah. Whether we're talking clients into being clients, or we're talking clients into coaching, or we're talking somebody else into coaching, if we have to talk somebody through it, or if I have to talk somebody through it, we've got to drag them every step of the way. And that was, you know, if I could go back to day one, oh my gosh, that's the number one thing I changed. Because what did all those coaches do? I got my hopes up. I got excited. I kept reaching out to them. I kept reaching out to them. I kept reaching out to them. And Dan Bell also told me it's a whole lot easier to bring on new life than trying to wake up the dead. All right. And I was always trying to wake up the dead instead of bringing on new life that wanted to be a coach. Or now, you know, bringing on client people that want to be clients. You know how frustrating it is to sign up a client that returned their kit 2 weeks later because they don't like the food, you know, or they don't like this, or they don't like that. No, they don't want to be a client. So rather than talking people into things, I just throw it out there and let them decide if it's for them. And that's the one thing I would change. I hope you all understood that. Half my tongue is numb from this side over. I can't even put it where it's supposed to go in my mouth. But anyways, thanks for your patience on that. Shauna, back to you.
Well, I hope y'all heard something that was helpful. You know, Kelly spoke to you about bringing clients and prospective coaches more and leaning into mentorship more in that area. I think tips calls is something that a lot of us, maybe not all of you, but some of us might fall short on. And what a missed opportunity when we don't bring, you know, and I could get better. I'm speaking to the choir here. You know, Lori talked about her fears in the beginning, and who would even have thought Lori was afraid, right? I mean, honestly, look at her. So, you know, it's just, we all have something, you know, that we just wish that we could go back and maybe tweak a little bit or do over. You know, for me, it was, I was trying to reinvent the wheel and do it my way. And then Frank, you know, talking people in, Frank and I have this conversation a lot. The way we talk to people now is a lot differently. You know, we sign up a lot of clients, but we're not dragging them into the program anymore, because I can remember clearly I used to, if I was met with a lot of resistance, I would stay on the phone with them until I could almost talk them into the program. And I was so afraid to not get them, right? And I think when we can just put that aside and do what we know we're supposed to do with them, have that conversation, and not try to drag them into Optavia, you know, a lot of people will come back. Or sometimes I've said, well, it doesn't really sound like this is for you. And they get in a panic at that point. And they're like, no, wait, that's not what I meant. So, you know, just having that confidence to share what you have, this wonderful opportunity that you have, and not be so afraid of losing people, I think is one of the biggest things that Frank and I have learned. We knew we were going to have some extra time tonight. And what we wanted to do was open it up, because this is such a nice opportunity for everybody to share. And I'm sure some of you have been thinking already, okay, I think I would have done this differently, or I would have done that differently. And even if it's similar to what was already talked about, I would love for y'all just to pop off of mute and share something that may have come to your mind that you wish that you had done differently. And with that said, you know you can go back and do it differently, right? There's never a missed opportunity to fix something or do something differently again. So I would love to open the floor. Debbie?
Yeah, I think I overcoached at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I would go in and I would talk about this and that and the other thing, and I would make sure they knew all the things, and I would make sure like I overcoached because I really wanted to, one, I wanted to show them how awesome I was. And two, I wanted to make sure that they could not fail, and so I think overcoaching is like, it's that whole run with the runners and walk with the walkers, and just be there for the people as they are ready for you instead of chasing them or dragging them.
And coaching feels a lot differently to you now, doesn't it?
Oh, I love coaching now. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think we make it a job when we do that, don't we? Yeah. Love that. Thank you, Debbie. Anybody else want to share? I know we have a lot of wisdom in this page.
I'll share.
Okay.
A lot of what everyone else said are the same things that I felt, but it kind of like what Debbie said. Just I feel like in the beginning I was very obsessed with making sure I hit on every single point, like you had to know Dr. A's story, and I felt like that everybody had to know all the different details, all of it. And if I missed something at the end of the conversation, I felt like I had, done my potential client a disservice. But so that, I feel like it's a lot easier now to do a health assessment, because if I get most of it, that's good. And I feel like I'm more focused now on listening, which is, Dee is my coach, and that's what she told me to do all along. But I don't know that I did as much listening as I should have. I did a lot more talking than I should have.
Yeah. Wow. That's a big one, Linda. Are your health assessments shorter now?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you don't feel the need to explain everything.
Yeah, they're definitely shorter, but also the jot form really helps too.
Yes.
Because if you
Yeah.
get somebody to start with that, you've already hit a lot of the information that you need to know about them, and it's a good starting point.
Yeah. Does everybody use the jot form? Yeah. I love the jot form. Frank would prefer to ask all the questions. I love the jot form. So yeah, it's a great tool. Anybody else want to share something that's just popped to your mind? It helps all of us so much when we hear your story.
Donna, one of the things I was just thinking about is almost every person, it sounds like the theme is the shift from fear mindset to abundance, and just that shift in a growth mindset. Like, it's not about me. How can I serve who's in front of me as best I can, and be okay with my own personal journey, because in 9 years, I've seen some good points with my own health, and I've seen some challenges. So I think I hear that, like, everybody's pushing into just being okay with where we are and who we are, and not being scared.
Right. I love that, Lori. And I think that falls to what Debbie said. It's so much easier now. It's more enjoyable to coach when you can lean into that. Absolutely. Kelly, you've got your hand up.
I wanted to mention that a lot of times, speaking when others were speaking, I was like, okay, so whenever we're posting something on social media all the time, and we're rotating around, putting different aspects and speaking to different individuals in our posts, they're ready. by the time they reach out, they're already ready. They're sold already. We don't have to sell them on anything. They already know. They feel like they know us. They already know they want to work with us. They already feel like they kind of know our voice. And I've had many clients tell me, you know, I feel like I know you already. I've been watching you 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever it is. And I know that I know I want to do this plan. And so I don't have to tell them a lot about the plan. I ask questions enough to find out what they need, make the proper recommendation for them. But I can tell them very little about what the process is going to be because I'll tell them on the kickoff call, we're going to go over this other. And of course, now that we have the recordings of things, they can watch a recorded kickoff call in the my Path to Health. And then you're just sort of hitting the high points that they probably missed because, you know, none of us listens that well. So we don't get everything when we listen to the one thing. And so it never hurts to hear it again. But so anyway, that's just something that I felt like that the social media piece really helps people to truly understand already that they know they want to do whatever it is. They don't care what it is. They're ready.
Yeah, that's great. And we've got some great tools now that we didn't have years ago to lean into. Julie, you've been coaching a long time, and I know you're sitting in here, and I would love to ask you if you've got a word of wisdom because you've been around a long time.
Yeah, it's so great to hear all you guys share too, because I think I'm right in the same situation. I was literally just talking to Lori. There's a couple things I would say. As far as coaching clients, I think now, this may sound a little crazy, but now my goal is actually how much can I empower my clients to do without me, because I want them to be empowered long term. So kind of like what you guys were just saying, I think I was trying to be the hero coach in the beginning. And now I'm much more focused on empowering my clients and showing them where the tools are and how do you figure this out so they're not leaning on me for everything. So that's probably one thing with clients. And then my other thing with coaches, I was just telling Lori this, is I learned early on what not to do with new coaches was try to get all the details, all the back system set up for them. Don't worry about all of that because that overwhelmed them. What I encourage for coaches is just start talking to people, schedule health assessments, just get into action because all those details can be figured out down the road. They don't have to be done up front.
I'm so glad you said that because I actually lost a coach in the very beginning because of that. Because as soon as he signed up, I said, okay, now we're going to get on a call. I'm going to teach you all about your back office. I showed him everything. I showed him newsletters, and we spent almost an hour, y'all. And at the end of the call, I said, Chip, aren't you excited? He said, honestly, I'm kind of overwhelmed. And he messaged me the next day and he said, I can't do this.
Yep.
Wow, right? What a big lesson to learn.
And what do we like just-in-time coaching? Like I literally think about that for clients and coaches is it's not about all of it at once because it'll overwhelm them.
Right.
It overwhelms me.
Yeah. Does anybody, before we're going to hop off, early, but does anybody have anything really quick they want to share? We want to get off in time for you to get on your computer and get in and support Stephanie, Meg, and Dee tonight. Does anybody else have anything really quick they want to share?
Something I'm learning is to not make it so labor intensive.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. All right. Well, I love hearing from all of you, and those of you that shared, thank you so much. And I hope that this was a good takeaway for you. And we're going to stop the recording. Frank is, and we're going to hop off of this call and get on your own call with the call following. Thanks so much, everybody.